This is the new Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 3, the new foldable flagship, and some may call it a phone, but essentially it's a 7.6-inch folding tablet. And this latest edition is finally cheaper. Yes, it's still quite expensive, it costs about as much as two conventional flagships, but it does address many concerns about durability and also brings a newer processor, tougher build, support for the S Pen, and better multitasking. Hey everyone, Vic with PhoneArena here today, and let me tell you that the Z Fold 3 does not feel like a huge change over last year's Z Fold 2, but it is improved in some very important little ways. And by the way, we have a special Z Fold 3 deal for you in the description box. You can click it right away or stick until the end for more details. So let's start by listing all the improvements right here. The Z Fold 3 first is cheaper, not by much. It's ever so slightly lighter, still way heavier than an average flagship phone. It's also got armor aluminum for a more rigid and tougher frame. The main screen also has 80% better durability. The cover screen on the front is the same size as before, but it now supports 120Hz fast refresh rate like the main one for better consistency. It's got a newer Snapdragon 888 processor that brings a performance boost, and it's got a very interesting under-display selfie camera for a more immersive viewing experience. So let's start with the durability. Yes, the Z Fold 3 is more durable, but it's still not quite as durable as a regular phone. Let me explain why. For example, Samsung now adds support for the S Pen, but you cannot just use an earlier S Pen you may have lying around. Samsung is selling a brand new edition with a retractable tip that would prevent you from applying too much pressure on the screen and scratching or denting it. And all of this suggests that the company knows that the screen is still not quite as tough as on a regular phone. And do you even need a foldable phone/tablet like this one? Oh, opinions are kind of split on this, but Samsung is really making a good case with better multitasking. For example, you can get 3 apps in split screen view and easily swap apps for better productivity. Then you can have another app floating on top of those 3. Plus, now you get a full-blown dock that you can have running on the side to quickly switch between apps, much like a full-blown desktop computer, which I find really interesting. And you still get full continuity. So if you open an app on the cover screen, once you unfold the device, it will automatically show you the same app on the larger screen. And compared to the Z Flip 3, this is a vastly more immersive experience. Just take a look at the difference in screen area between these two. It is massive. Now, what hasn't changed much is the cameras. Sure, you have this pill-shaped camera module that looks cleaner and kind of different, but essentially you still have the same 3 cameras as last year. You have your main camera, the ultra-wide one, and a 2x zoom telephoto lens. And they do a good job, don't misunderstand me, but you don't have, for example, the long-range zoom that you can get on the S21 Ultra, so you miss out a bit on the variety. But okay, you're probably also wondering about that cool futuristic under-the-screen camera. Interestingly, Samsung had to drop the resolution for this new sensor in order to make it work, and the Z Fold 3 has a 4-megapixel sensor versus a 10-megapixel one on the previous generation. And this new camera mostly fades out of view just as you would expect, but if you're really trying to find it, you can still notice it, especially on a white background. Now, as for the quality of the images, well, click the card on your screen to see a detailed comparison to the regular selfie camera on the Z Flip 3, but in a nutshell, this under-display camera, or UDC, definitely captures softer photos with less clarity, and it's still a compromise. And that would have been pretty bad if this was the only camera to take selfies with, but it's actually not. You can actually use the main cameras on this phone to take selfies, so you still get excellent quality, and it's easy to forgive the slightly lower quality on this newer camera. And we should also note that Samsung launches the Z Fold 3 with Android 11 currently, but it promises 3 years of Android updates, so this means you're guaranteed to get Android 12, Android 13 and Android 14 in the future. So you're pretty much all set. On the battery front, you get a 4400 mAh cell, which is actually a bit smaller than the 4500 mAh battery on last year's model. Now, we did not have any problem getting through a full day on last year's model, so we would say that the slight cut in battery size is actually justified if you can get a lighter and slightly more compact device, which is exactly what Samsung went for. And speaking of sizes, here are the dimensions for the Z Fold 3 against the Z Fold 2. There are some subtle differences. The new phone is thinner, less wide, and 11 grams lighter. Also, very surprisingly, it's officially water resistant. Yes, a water resistant folding phone. And yes, it can be submerged in water for up to 30 minutes and survive unscathed. That's what Samsung is telling us. And that's just kind of wild for a foldable. The key to that is actually applying a special lubricant that will protect the smaller components inside the fold, and even using a cured in place gasket to protect the ribbons that connect the two sides of the foldable phone. So that is just plain cool, but also it kind of screams trouble for future repairs, but we guess that's the inevitable cost of a watertight foldable phone. So that is the Galaxy Z Fold 3. It really is a folding tablet in my mind rather than a phone. The changes that Samsung has made this year suggest that the company realizes that this device is still a bit too large for many people, and it understands the concerns about durability with foldable phones, so it has made it a tiny bit smaller and more durable. Still, this doesn't feel like a phone for everyone, at least to me. It's still a bit too cumbersome to carry in a pocket. It still takes two hands to unfold it, you cannot do it with just one, and the cover screen is still a bit too small for comfort. The more compact Galaxy Z Flip 3 is actually far more appealing as the mainstream phone that can easily be used by everyone, and it's also much cheaper. The Z Fold 3 is not that, but that's okay. It's a phone for the enthusiasts who want to have something different and potentially much more powerful, even if that means a few sacrifices to comfort. And for those people, we have a great deal on both the Z Fold 3 and the Z Flip 3. Best Buy is the place to buy these new foldable phones with a generous offer to save up to $400 instantly on the new Z series with pre-order and a qualified activation. Best Buy has all three Z Fold 3 colorways, the silver, the green, and the black one, and you can select between a 256 gig and a 512 gig model, and the discount applies across all carriers and all versions. Usually we would wait a bit as Samsung phones typically drop in price after a while, but saving $400 right away is a really sweet deal to have at launch, so head on to the description box below and click on the link to save up on the new Z series. So what do you think about the Z Fold 3? Will this be the one to finally switch people to the foldable phone hype? And what do you think about the whole idea of carrying essentially a foldable tablet in your pocket? I'm really curious. Thanks for watching. My name is Vic. This is PhoneArena, and I will talk to you in the next one.